What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony with the Wrenched Out Garage. Today we got another video working on the trailer. Gonna add a box to it. Make sure hit subscribe if this is your first 50th 100th 150th time watching the videos. I appreciate it. So does everybody that helps me with this stuff, sponsors, family, everybody else. Anyways, we got something cool going on today. As promised, we're going to be adding some storage because when I carry or we tow this thing along, the good old RZR 1000, obviously I've got some storage in the back of it here for the gear that I carry on the RZR. More to come on that, but most importantly, the trailer itself, instead of bringing, like, I've got wheel chocks, I've got the little wheel hub, little wheel locking hub, I've got straps, I've got bungee cord, all of that stuff. Instead of carrying it in the bed of my truck or in the back of my wife's car or whatever, I can carry it in this box. Now, this is a Craftsman truck box. This is actually built, let me show you this thing from the side here. This is actually built for the inside of your pickup truck. In fact, it has the hardware. It's called a truck chest. I'll see if I can find this on Amazon and I'll link it. It's got all the hardware so you can mount it in your box. I'm not gonna mount it to my truck, obviously. A couple of key features that I was looking for with a box is, A, I wanted it squared. I almost bought a truck, like a standard truck box with the sides that stick out. Didn't really want it, but I almost bought it because it was cheaper than this one. This one actually holds more than the ones that I was looking at, and it's got diamond plate. Trailer's got diamond plate. It's obviously black and not the chrome finish. They didn't actually have the chrome one. I bought this from Lowe's, which is okay because the wheels are black right here. So kind of matches it. Either way, it looks great. I did do a test fit on the trailer. It is a push button. This thing has struts on both sides. These are some nice sturdy struts. This is a light box. That's what the inside looks like. It does have weather sealing. For the sake of this, it does say do not carry gasoline, explosives, or solvents in this thing, gas-powered equipment. I'm sure for multiple reasons. We're not gonna be doing any of that, but this thing has ample gear. Another nice feature I like about it is you lock it from the side. I put the key in, lock it, and then it's just a simple push button, fully sealed, fully locked on both sides. Looks great. So here's the plan and what I'm gonna do. This is obviously gonna sit on the tongue. I already test fit it. I bought some of this rubber, and I'll link all this stuff down below. So I bought this rubber. Right here is a roll of rubber. And the reason is I want this to sit on this rubber when I go to mount it. And what I'll be using to mount it is this galvanized axle tie down plate. It's 2-inch because the tongue is 2-inch squared tubing. So I figured galvanized, which is waterproof. I won't have to worry about rust or any of that stuff. They also come, the cool part about this kit is it comes with these plates. Now I will be plating that in because then obviously on the lower portion of this, you'd have to try like hell to get this off there. I may or may not, because if I do plate it, that means it's gonna have to fall within that parameters, which means depending on how I mount it, if I mount it to the center, it would probably be okay. Part of me is thinking about maybe mounting one here and one here, and in that case, obviously, I will just run washers and the nuts, giving it a little bit of a bigger spread to kind of hold it down. I do think though, if I did put it in the center with those plates, and maybe I will. So if you look at this plate, that is actually gonna cover truly the full center, and I think this thing would be sturdy with just those alone. So this is gonna sit on the actual trailer, so it has some type of shock absorption, and I don't really want this metal sitting on the metal on that, simply because goofy stuff happens when you combine different metals, and then it's black, and then it'll add wear marks, all of that stuff. It also acts as a small shock absorber for what I'm looking at doing. So let me get this stuff prepared. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, but let me, I'm gonna go measure this stuff out and do all that boring stuff, and then we'll dive into it from there. All right, guys, so we're at the trailer. I cut the rubber, I taped it off to center this thing. Like you can see here, I know it's kind of bright, taped off my cut lines. The rubber's actually just sitting right under this. I'll pull it forward a little bit. I also taped off down below on each side, because what I think I'm going to end up doing, this thing's gonna be holding some gear. So obviously these are gonna run up and into it. Now again, I have a couple of options. I can just lag bolt one in the front and one toward the back, which I may do, or I can use these plates, these axle plates right here, and then obviously put it toward the center. Now if you look at this and I run it toward the center, let me show you a little bit. So if I run this plate toward the center, I mean, it shows you how much bite it'll have in the middle. The only concern that I have with doing that, well, two things. One, obviously if I space it out with this size and I run one in toward the front and run one toward the back, it may hold the integrity or keep the integrity of the box with wind and with everything else. Now obviously if I clamp this down on it in the middle of the box on both sides, it's going to be very strong. My only concern with doing it this way, and I may just say screw it and do it this way, I'm thinking I will, is as there's pull and there's drag on this, if it starts pulling up on this primary holding. Obviously doing it this way is going to be a lot stronger than just doing regular washers and bolts. So I do have this thing mocked up, so let's get it in the garage and drill some holes. All right, so we're back in the garage. I got the box flipped upside down, so this is what it's gonna kind of look like. I'm gonna drill these out, and then we're gonna hope for the best here, a little bit of hoping. But the problem is if I run this plate, granted it'll be right in the middle, I can always run this plate on like the back of it to where it's gonna apply pressure to this and then pull down. Obviously there's gonna be washers on this, but I feel like running it in the center by itself, it's not gonna have enough pull on the back or on the front, and you'll still get a little wobble. So I'm gaining an inch, give or take, inch and a half on each side running it as singles. So I've got my drill bit. I'm gonna drill into this guy and we're gonna see what happens. Again, there it is, it's upside down. Let's get to work. Okay, so obviously we drilled the holes. They're tight, which is fine, because what the plan is to put those through, and then what I'll probably do is once I get them sealed in, I'm probably gonna shoot some silicone into them, into the top, right below the washer that I'm gonna put up there, just to ensure that I've got a air or waterproof seal on this thing, because obviously I don't want water coming up from the bottom. So let's go get this on the trailer and see what happens. All right, so I got it all mounted up. I was actually just grabbing 19 mil socket extension. Let me show you what this looks like. Cleaned up some of the shavings. So there it is. Obviously these bolts stick up. Let me show you. Pretty high, so I may come back through and clean them up. But ultimately what I'm gonna do, shoot some of this black RTV in and around it. It's not big by any means, but I do want to seal this thing up, so I'll shoot a little bit of this around it and then bolt everything down. But that's what she looks like. So it fits on there good. Again, the rubber's down here giving it some support, and then it's got support up here on the back, so as it pushes against that. I think overall this is going to add quite a bit of storage to the trailer as a whole. Looks good, but it's going to function even better. That's pretty much the install. I'm going to wrap this up off camera. I appreciate you guys checking it out. Again, the links to all these products are going to be down below, so if you got a project like this, or if you have questions, just let me know. Again, I like this setup. Smooth. Gives me a lot of options for all the gear that I'm going to need on the road, whether I'm hauling the RZR or anything. Of all the gear in here, watertight seal. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to hit subscribe, like the video. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else. Until next time, guys, if you're out riding, driving, do it safely. Catch up with you later.